What's up, guys? Today I thought I would give you another free course from my t-shirt design masterclass in Photoshop that I just put out on Udemy. In this course, we're taking our first and last name and something that we love, like a hobby, a career, anything like that, and we're making a t-shirt design out of it. This is honestly great for beginners because you're gonna learn essential tools that you need to take your graphic design career even further. So I definitely recommend you guys pick up my full course in the description below. I gave you guys half off. So definitely check it out if you haven't already. Let's get it, guys. Go ahead and pull up Photoshop and follow along with me. I hope you guys learned something cool in this video. The first thing we want to do is actually start a new document. So we're going to go up to File, New, because I already have one open. And I obviously want to copy the dimensions that we already discussed, which is 14 by 18, 300 DPI, 300 resolution. RGB, we can keep that as is, unless you really need it in CMYK, then that's up to you. And then for the t-shirt color, which is where the background contents are, we want to make sure that is white because I want to print this on a lighter color shirt. So, anything lighter. So gray, white, anything lighter. So we're going to go ahead and hit create now, and it's going to create a new artboard. And now we are ready to start designing. I'm not going to focus too much on layers and stuff like that, like organization. That's kind of up to you guys if you want to do that. I definitely recommend you organize as you go. But on this one, I'm not going to focus too much on organization because I want to show you guys stuff and not spend too much time organizing the layer palette, if that makes sense. So hope you guys understand. The first thing we want to do actually is go ahead and go to our shape. So we're going to add an ellipse, okay? So we want to make sure the fill is black, okay? That's going to be our base, our under base. And we're gonna go ahead and make sure we just drag out, holding in shift. We're gonna let go. And again, if you wanted to, you could just click the ellipse and double click and then choose the dimensions right here and it will make one. So let's say we want it to be 900 by 900. We could do that. That's pretty small, obviously, but I just wanted to show you guys that you can do that. So that's like a really quick shortcut if you guys want to do it that way. Now we have a really good start. So this is our black underbase. Now what I wanna do is just name this black underbase. So that's just the underlying layer that's black, right? So everything else is going to sit on top of that. So the next thing I want to do is go ahead and create another circle. Again, we can double click and make another circle. It's going to copy the same dimensions as our last circle. So that's kind of cool. And then we want to go up here and we want to make sure the fill is transparent, and we want to change the stroke to, let's say, 72. Let's try 72, and we want to make sure that is some sort of red color. And then again, 72 for the stroke width. Now I can do Command A and then just basically center everything vertically and horizontally. Command T, and then now I'm just resizing. So I am using some shortcuts. Another really helpful shortcut is Shift and Option together. I think it's Shift and Control on a PC, and you can resize evenly. So now, as you can see, we are resizing it evenly, and we want to go about right there on it. Before I continue on, I want to rename this outer stroke so we know where it is. Again, we're trying to stay semi-organized here. Now what I can do is do Command J on it, or I can just right click on the layer and duplicate it that way. But I always like using the shortcuts. And what I do is I do Command T again, Shift Option, I'm holding that and I'm just resizing it, okay? And I totally understand that this is a Mac friendly course and not so much PC, but I figured you guys can probably understand what to press on a PC, especially if you're a diehard PC user. You probably already know what the alternative shortcuts are, so I don't feel like I need to explain that. Anyway, so now we have the outer stroke and we have the inner stroke, so let's go and name this inner stroke. We're doing pretty good here, guys. So now we have the inner stroke, outer stroke. Now that those are in place, what we can do as a shortcut is we could duplicate this inner stroke and use that as our type on a path. So now let's hit T on our keyboard, and we're just gonna hover over the top, and it's gonna put some lorem ipsum. That's beautiful. I am using a font called DDC Hardware. You can find this free online. That's the most amazing thing. Aaron Draplin put this font out. He's an amazing graphic designer. And if you guys want, you can go online and download it. I also included it in this particular section. You can also use any font you want. It's completely up to you. This is your design. So now I have my text. It's lorem ipsum. So I want to change that to my first and last name, since that's what we're doing in this one. And I want to go to my path tool. So I'm hitting A on my keyboard. And now I just want to realign it. I want to make sure this is centered. And as you can see, it's really squeezed in there, right? And I don't really like that. So what I want to do is actually go to the outer stroke and just resize it a tad, just so our text has a little bit more breathing room. And I think that looks pretty good. So we're going to keep it like that. And if you look at it, it looks pretty nice. So we're going to keep that as is. Even the strokes can be a little thinner. So let's go to the strokes real quick. So I'm just changing the stroke width to, instead of 72, I'm gonna go 65 and see what that looks like. I think that looks a little better. I'm going to all the shapes and I'm just changing the stroke to 65 instead of 72. And I think that looks much better. It's a lot more balanced now. And that's really what I do, is I just, go for it, guys. There's nothing to it really. I mean, it's all about trial and error. If I'm going too fast, I do apologize, but this stuff really does just take practice. I can slow it down as much as possible, but it's definitely going to take practice. And I know you guys are completely capable of doing this. If I can do it, you can do it. So yeah, just take your time, really listen to what I'm saying, and I promise you will get it down. The next thing I want to do is go back up to my CharleyPangus text, and I want to do Command J on it, so I'm duplicating it. And then I want to hover on the bottom part of this text right here where the Y is. I just want to hover until I see the left and right arrows with an I in the center, I cursor, and they just want to click and drag down, and then drag a little bit up like that. So it will take some practice, but you will get it down, I promise. So we're taking those anchor points and just shifting them so that text sits on the inside circle. We will fix that. And then I want to type out Udemy. And then the next thing I need to do is obviously change my baseline shift. So I'm going under my character palette, going all the way down to the A's right here. And I just want to go to the negatives, and this will change the baseline shift just like that. And I just want to kind of eye it and make sure it is centered. And I think that looks pretty good. So we're going to keep that like that. So let's go to our pen tool. Just hit P on your keyboard to go to the pen tool. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to drag out a line right in between the C and the U right here. And we're going to copy that over to the right side. And you're going to see exactly how this is going to work. So just making a line real quick. And then we just want to change the color to transparent, and then make the stroke here the same as every other stroke. So we're going to go 65 and make sure it is that same red color. And as you can see, we have some pretty cool separation now. And we could drag that up just a little bit, just kind of figure out where we want it. And then what we're going to do is we're actually going to do Command J again, duplicate it, and then we're going to flip it. So I'm right clicking on that transform box here and then flipping it horizontally, and we're just going to drag it over to the right. And if we wanted to, we can create a group for these and then make sure they're centered to the artboard just like that. The next thing I want to do is actually change the kerning of both of my text lines. So meaning CharleyPangus and Udemy. So we want to change the kerning on that. So I'm going to go to my T tool. I'm double clicking on my name, and it's going to highlight it, and I'm just going to hold an Option and change the kerning a little bit so it is spread out more, and do the same thing for Udemy. So it's taking up more of that space in that box. The next thing I want to do is create the inside stitches here real fast before we put the initials in the center. So I just want to drag out a circle again, just like that. So now I have my circle, and I want to put that in the center. And obviously I can't see it, so we can change the color so we can see it. Let's change it to this hot pink. And then what I want to do is hit T on my keyboard, and then make sure there's a little squiggly line. And once you see that, click, and you're going to see some lorem ipsum, and then we can just put some dashes. It's really that simple. And if we double click on it, we can change the font size. How cool is that? So let's go and change the font size. We don't want it to be too big, but we don't want it to be too small either. So now they look nice. They look like they belong there. We can delete that ellipse now that we just added that was hot pink. We can even change the baseline shift of these just a little bit more. So on the other design, I actually had the center filled with red. I think that looks kind of cool, although the black does look cool too. So we're just going to change that to red real quick. So let's go to our inner stroke, and let's make sure we're selecting the shape tool right here, and then go up to fill and just change it to that red, and it will fix that, as you can see. And we will need to change the baseline shift on the stitches because now they look a little weird. Again, we go to our T tool, and we just want to go ahead and just press once and then type out C, obviously, because that's the first initial of my name. And I also want to make sure the font color is black, so I'm going to change that real fast. So this is kind of a walkthrough of how I design, guys, just to give you guys some insight on how I use these tools. So instead of doing all that work again, I'm just doing Command J on my C, and it's going to create a copy, and let's just type in P now. So now we got CP. I'm just going to kind of line them up just like that, and I think that looks pretty good. And now we can group these together as CP, and we're going to do some pretty cool shadow effects. But first we want to make sure this is centered in our design. So we're going to make it a little bit bigger just like that. I think that looks pretty nice. So now we're going to kind of experiment, guys. We're going to actually add a drop shadow to this, but before we do that, we want to actually duplicate this layer. Let's add a color overlay of white, and we're going to right click, and we're actually going to convert this to a smart object. Why, you may be asking? The reason why is because we are going to add a 3D effect to this, and it's going to look super cool. Before we do that though, I do want to add a inner stroke just like this. So I'm just adding a black inside stroke. We're gonna go up to 3D, and we also want to select new 3D extrusion from selected layer. And what that's gonna do is it's going to pop up this box, say yes to that. Now, I'm not a professional when it comes to 3D stuff, okay? So I definitely am not the best person to ask. This is kind of like a bonus for you guys, but the one thing I do change is the little yellow dot in the center. I just push up on it a little bit. So we're just changing the perspective. So I'm actually just clicking and dragging up on this, and then that's it. And we're just gonna keep everything the same. Now what I wanna do, since I just did that, I wanna keep everything else the same. There's nothing special here. We don't need to change anything really unless you really want to. And I'm actually going to right click on the CP copy, and I'm going to actually rasterize this. So I'm rasterizing the 3D layer, and then from there I'm gonna go to Image, Adjustments, Levels, and we're going to adjust the levels until that black turns completely black. We're using everything we learned so far. Obviously the 3D was something new, but I'm kind of excited to show you guys that as like a little bonus. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Have fun with this, guys. Don't stress out over it, okay? Design's fun. If you're not good at it, it's okay, practice. You'll get good at it. I'm always here to support you guys on the Q&A section of my Udemy course. So anyway, I hope you guys are enjoying this course so far. We're gonna move on to the next design where we're gonna actually texture stuff. And it's gonna be really cool. So I'll see you guys there. If you guys enjoyed this free course and learned something new, you're definitely going to learn so much more in my full course. I gave you guys half off my course in the description below. So if you guys wanna learn how to make awesome t-shirt designs in Photoshop, definitely check it out. I only gave 200 of those coupon codes out, and I think I have like 100 left. So definitely recommend you guys check it out. If you guys love what I do, follow me on Instagram at CharleyPangus, and obviously make sure you're subscribed to my channel so you don't miss another video. But guys, thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next video. Keep creating, keep being awesome. Peace.